Joining me now is Raghav Sharan Pandey, former Nagaland Chief Secretary, and also Shashikant Kopikar, Wing Commander retired, also joining us. Welcome to the broadcast, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. Coming to you first, Mr. Raghav Sharan Pandey, you are somebody who's familiar with the geography, with the territory of Nagaland. Given what has happened on the 4th and 5th of December, which has raised questions on whether the anti-insurgency operation in Nagaland has been effective, what has been your observation? What have you basically observed because of this incident? A lot of things people are saying might now change from how it was before because there's public anger over these innocent killings. What are your observations?
Yes, for me personally, it has been very, very painful because I happened to be Deputy Commissioner in the same district, Mon, for 5 full years during 80-85. And that time, the insurgency was in most virulent form. But never in my memory, I recall such a ghastly incident having taken place. Although the Armed Forces Special Power Act was in place and the army was there, and insurgency was there, but this kind of incident had never happened. Now, what has happened today? Whatever we might say, but one conclusion is very clear, that none of the people who have lost lives, 15 of them, are insurgents. They are not even close to insurgents. I mean, that's everybody says. The local people say, the local government says, the district administration says, the Nagaland government says. Now, why did it happen? It happened because of mistaken identity, wrong intelligence, or wrong application of their powers. Now, whatever has happened, this has certainly created a lot of disturbance, not only in the minds of the people, the families who have lost their kith and kin, but the Konyak Union, the whole state of Nagaland, then the states nearby, and as I understand, even beyond the borders in Naga inhabited areas. So the psychology is really impacted very badly. And it has happened at a time when it sways the feelings of the people. Because in a democracy, people are the most important. And particularly, we know the Northeast, we know Nagaland, and we can't afford to cause anything which alienates the mind of the people from the Indian mainstream. And that is of a critical
Which is why there is a big concern now, sir. There's a very big concern now whether it is going to take us that many years back, because there was a peace process, there was an attempt to bridge communities, but again, something of this nature always has a tendency to sort of, burn bridges. Wing Commander, can you help us understand, as somebody who is operated in these kind of disturbed areas, Wing Commander Shashikant Kopikar, what are your views on this?
In expressing my views, I'll keep politics out of it. Number one, as you had mentioned yourself earlier, the armed forces are acting on behalf of the central government. They are not acting on their own. And if time permits, now or a little later, I will quote the exact section, rule, and point from that act. But at the moment, I will keep it aside and go forward.
No, please go ahead, sir. Yeah.
Okay. I read out from the Armed Forces Special Power Act, Section 5, Rule 4, Point A. Any commissioned officer, any junior commissioned officer, any non-commissioned officer may, in a disturbed area, if he is of the opinion that it is necessary to do so for maintenance of public order and peace, after giving due warning, fire upon or otherwise take such necessary action to prevent disturbance of peace, if necessary, by causing death.
But in this case, these were innocent civilians. That has been, in fact, confirmed by the Union Home Minister in Parliament, who said in no uncertain terms that this was a case of mistaken identity. They were thought to be insurgents traveling in a bolero. That vehicle had 8 people. All of them were coal miners who were returning from duty after a day-long work. Little did they know that they will face the bullets of the army in ambush. So, do you think that somewhere there is a tendency to take liberties with the civilian population, or how is it that something of there wasn't enough checks and balances done to ensure before shooting young youth of Naga youth down in this manner?
No, I do not think the armed forces exceeded their powers or took liberties. I'll tell you why. You quoted the Home Minister.
Yes.
The Home Minister also said, and the army spokesmen have also emphasized, that the action of the local armed forces units were based on the intelligence, credible intelligence, which they had double checked. Number 2, a checkpoint was set up where the vehicles were required to slow down and get checked. In this particular case, this vehicle, when asked to stop, did not stop, but sped past.
Now, that is the problem. Now they have powers to shoot to kill. That is why we are questioning the AFSPA. We are not questioning the army action on that day per se, as much as we are questioning the very act which is in force. Because the question we are asking is this immunity proves Wing Commander Sashikant?
No, not at all. I don't concede that. I'll tell you why. If the local authorities, the local police or the local special armed units, etc., commandos of the police, felt that they were competent enough to maintain peace and to act against insurgents, I'm sure the center would have done it, provided 2 things. Number 1, the peace talks that were going on with various Naga units had succeeded and an agreement was reached. Number 2, the insurgents themselves who were holding peace talks were united in their approach, which in this case it is not. There are rival factions which are acting against the interests of
that may be the case, but here the army obviously has faltered. It's a botched up operation. The army has expressed regrets and also initiated a court of inquiry, which is, of course, an admission in a way that things have gone horribly wrong. The entire intel input was wrong. The cross-checking was not done in a manner that it should have happened. Raghav Sharan Pandey, quick last word to you, sir, on if you can respond to what we just heard from the wing commander.
Yes.
Well, the standard protocol has been
in no case indicates.
Sorry, go ahead, Mr. Yes.
The standard protocol has been that whenever army operates, even under the Special Powers Act, the state police should be there. Was the state police informed? Was there some coordination done with them? Obviously no. And I think that's a mistake. That is how this mistaken identity could have been avoided. And also the briefing, I remember the briefings even with the army used to say that even if one insurgent escapes, take care that no innocent person is killed. Now what has happened? So,
and the second incident is even more surprising, sir. The second incident where you had protesters clashing with the army, there again the army chose to open fire. And that is why AFSPA, something like AFSPA, is in certain situations very dangerous. It actually alienates the community, and years of work that is done to bridge communities goes down the drain. And that's a real worry for a country like ours, especially for the Northeast, for Kashmir. One has to look at it with greater sensitivity. That's why we are saying, should AFSPA now be either repealed or made more humane at least, so that we do not have killings of innocent citizens. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us in this conversation.